Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Now, still to come before 10, intelligence expert and Tory MP Rupert Allison, plus US talk show host Ricky Lake. Now, my next guest is a comic of the cloth. Ladies and gentlemen, Dermot Morgan.
Does Chris Bonington know about those stairs? I just wondered.
You could give it a try. I really
Yo, you my bitch. Sit down, woman. Sorry.
Isn't he a cool bloke?
Have you had any knee touching on this show so far? Oh, fine-looking woman, Ms. Roslin. Come on. Sit over here, my knee. I knew your parents had nothing to worry about there. You haven't had the knee touching really
You're
much.
very similar to Father Ted, then, aren't you?
Yes.
Bit of a dodgy geezer.
I'm based on about, 95% of the clerics in Ireland. We had this dreadful gag that was doing the rounds in Ireland after all the sort of scandals came out about priests being involved with, various sexual activities, and there was. The big one was what you call 10 altar boys, that the spot prizes at a priest's ordination. But we had to stop that stuff because it was just too bold. It was too bold.
Maybe that's where you should stop it.
Just don't. No, it can go worse. If you don't behave yourselves, it'll get worse, right? Now just, get a grip here.
Well, what do the priests think of it over there?
I don't know, and I frankly don't give a damn. I mean, it's I survived the cliched Catholic Irish upbringing, so whatever they think about it, I can tell them what I think about them if they ever want to know.
What do you mean you survived? You started
well,
off...
I mean, it's to be dragged up, in the sort of the Catholic ethos it's scary, I mean, it's like sort of moral fascism. Nobody can handle that stuff. You can't really believe you're going to be damned forever if you do something wrong. I have to tell you this because it's actually true. One of the great joys of doing TED, though the intention behind it isn't particularly satirical, it's just Arthur Matthews and Graham Linehan having a laugh. For me, one of the joys of it is kind of like therapy. It kind of, it's catharsis. It gets all that clerical stuff out of my head. But I used to take it all very seriously. And when I was quite disgracefully late in my teens, all the other guys had experimented with sex, albeit on their own. And I hadn't. I really had tried. No, it was the one thing I was sure was a mortal sin is if you touched yourself. Now, at this stage, of course, I didn't realise the Bishop of Galway was shagging his first cousin. But I was, and because, my friend would be saying, help me, touch me. All the other boys are touching their parts. I can't. I'm a Catholic. I have no hands. You're going to have to help me. I can't. Leave me alone, you bastard. Please. How can you pull a woman if you can't even pull yourself? This is really true. And the worst thing, and eventually, at quite late in my life, about 37, no, that's a lot. I succumbed, to the temptation because, he just ordered me. I have taken over dual controls. So, and it happened. I always recall it happened on a Friday night, and it was just. I didn't really know what it was to be damned, to be in eternal damnation. Though, not touching myself was hell up to that anyhow. And then it happened, and it was a wonderful feeling. And then suddenly, oh shit, no, that's it. If I'm hit by a bus, I'm down. I'm in the old crackly, crinkly place for all eternity. Very hot, no air conditioning. What am I going to do? And I'll have to go to confession. And it was a Friday evening. And the next time I could go to confession was on the Saturday. There was a Saturday session of confession, which ran from like 11 to 1. So I was sitting there. What am I going to do? Well, I'm never going to do this thing again, ever. However, if I was to get caught now or hit by a bus, I'm going down anyhow for eternity. So how many eternities can you do? So I decided I was going to pack in all the self-interference I could. From Friday tea time, I remember this. I was trying to study for exams, flunked that. And I left it to the last confession you could possibly make, which is like at 1 o'clock. And I think I set up a record. I really did. A team of paramedics had to carry me into the last confession. And it wasn't the last time either, but... but what I'm saying to you is that, you know, imagine doing all that stuff in your head because of the priest, so, and at the same time as they were doing all this other funny stuff themselves.
So is that when you put it all behind you? I mean, I'm talking about the confessional. No. I've
no smut. There'll be no smut.
No. Is that when you just put?
No, I think you're always putting the. I mean, there's nothing worse than the. I think one of the newspapers described me as spectacularly lapsed as a Catholic, and you're always putting it behind you, you know, because the guilt thing is they get the guilt early into you, and then you're always being tapped on the shoulder, you know. We'll get you. St. Peter will be waiting, you know, oh, please, no. Brendan Behan, the Irish dramatist, just said he was a daytime atheist, you know, but come nighttime, ooh. Yes, God, I believe in you. Ooh, turn on the lights.
I think we realised from listening to you now that you are famous in Ireland for stand-up, and you do hard-edged stuff.
Yeah, satire, yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of,
yeah, satire. And rumour is you've got a hit list. No, that sounds a bit frightening. Who's on your hit list?
This is propaganda put out by the establishment in Ireland. I used to do this show called Scrap Saturday with a friend of mine, Jerry Stembridge. We used to do this kind of satirical thing on radio, and truly we used to pick off all the establishment figures. And why the punters loved it at home was because it was the real agenda. In other words, it kind of articulated what the spin doctors wouldn't put on like the Bernard Inghams of Ireland were all completely nanted because we were telling it like it was. Right on. Yo, do my thing. Sorry, it's still there. And so that's where the hit list idea sprung from that we used to pick up. There was Charles Haughey was the Taoiseach at the time. That's the Prime Minister in Ireland, and he was the more crap we ladened him with that we ladled on him, I should say, the better he got in the ratings, you know. Yes, it's true, I'm a bastard.
Well, is it in a way
loved him, yeah.
This sort of spitting image idea then?
It was like...
Can I just ask you, I mean, I asked this to Lee Hurst a few weeks ago as well. Is it hard doing stand-up and when there are desperately unhappy issues in the world? I mean, especially with the Northern Irish issue, how can you find things to laugh at when there's all of that?
Well, I mean, the interesting thing, if you get into a taxi in Belfast, they have developed an extremely good black humour, which they have to, you know, and you're in Belfast and you're walking on eggshells. Not at all. A guy told me one there, he said, did you hear about the two provos? He said they hijacked the car and it broke down on them, so they got and they hubcapped it. You know, it's kind of a bizarre thing to do, you know. So they don't, I think they, you know, you can, that is true that you can cope with stuff with humour, you know, it's like whistling past a graveyard. No, I don't, I mean, there are things, some of that stuff where priests were involved with altar boys and things like that, you know, laughter was a weapon in that situation. People would make jokes about that in Ireland, and yet if they thought about the individual tragedies of the people who were abused, you couldn't possibly entertain having a gag about it. But it's just a way to kind of
push the bad stuff aside and laugh to always help. You've certainly made us laugh tonight. Thank you very much. Dermot Morgan.